Dear leaders of the world, we are a group of Taiwanese hoping that Taiwan can play a more important role to fight current COVID-19 pandemic. We noticed that Taiwan's participation in WHO has long been rejected based on WHO's Resolution 25.1 in 1972, adopted after the UN General Assembly passed the Resolution 2758 in 1971, which recognized the People's Republic of China as the only legitimate representative of China in WHO. While WHO is very much a part of the UN, it is understandable that the UN's position regarding the legal state of Taiwan became WHO's position as well. Since the UN basically considers Taiwan as a province of China, it is not surprising that WHO also regards Taiwan as part of China, and consequently refuses Taiwan's application for WHO membership to avoid the situation of double representative of China and the potential confusion and chaos. Granted, WHO's concerns of potential problems of two Chinas is not without merit. However, allowing Taiwan to participate does not necessarily lead to two China's chaos. In fact, by sophisticated design and careful arrangement, it is possible for Taiwan and China to participate in an international organization at the same time without creating any confusion. WTO and the various regional fishery management organizations are very good examples. We understand and respect the fact that WHO is an intergovernmental organization, and hence it limits its membership to sovereign states only. However, the current pandemic of COVID-19 clearly tells the whole world that politics and national borders are meaningless in the eyes of life-threatening diseases. Coronavirus does not understand the concept of sovereignty and the national borders. Whether a geographic region is recognized as a sovereign state or not does not change its risk of pandemic attack. While abstract concepts like statehood and border lines do not hinder the spread of a virus, they do become unnecessary and avoidable obstacles that prevent us from fighting this war together as allies. It is a fact that the People's Republic of China, while being a state member of WHO, failed to promptly provide sufficient and accurate information to WHO, and it will certainly be held accountable for current devastating situation. It is also a fact that, due to Taiwan's non-member status and WHO's long-standing One China position, the warning message sent by Taiwan was ignored and suppressed by the PRC's political words. While China paid more attention to maintain her territorial integrity and imaginary jurisdiction over Taiwan, people of all other member states of WHO are suffering, deprived of freedom by quarantine, deprived of intimate interaction by social distancing, killed by coronavirus, living the rest of their lives with permanent lung damages, and having their deceased families and friends burned into ashes without saying goodbye. We could not help to wonder, if Taiwan were a member of WHO and could have our voice heard, how many people's lives could be saved? If Taiwan were a member of WHO and could have our medical experts and competent officers of pandemic control freely share information, experience, techniques, ideas, and solutions with the world on the global forum of WHO, without being silenced by political influence or subject to the consent of an unpredictable regime, what world would we have now? COVID-19 is not the first and will not be the last pandemic threatening the existence of all mankind. We, all human beings, regardless of age, race, sex, gender, religion, social status, and nationality, all competent governing entities, regardless of legal and political status, must stand together, fight together, and survive together. We are all villagers of this global village. We should not leave anyone behind, and we should not keep anyone outside. Taiwan has received compliments around the world for her extraordinary performance in respect of containing COVID-19 pandemic and effective measures taken in advance. As Taiwanese, we are certainly proud of her performance. Nevertheless, compliments cannot help Taiwan to survive in a world ruined by a ruthless pandemic. Hence, we want to help the world, not only because we can, but also because we must. However, in spite of our efforts, without membership in WHO, without the help of a global health platform like WHO, without unhindered rights and impartial opportunities to share and exchange ideas and information with other members of the international community, a great amount of resources and energies are wasted, while the numbers of infected patients and deceased grow. To this end, we hereby humbly urge current members of WHO to amend the provisions of the Constitution of WHO to grant WHO membership to all de facto autonomous entities with disputed legal status, like Kosovo, Somaliland, and Taiwan. We understand that as a member in the United Nations system, WHO is also bound by the UN General Assembly Resolution 2758, which recognizes the People's Republic of China as a sole legitimate representative of China in the UN and all related organizations. However, if the membership is not limited to sovereign states only, granting membership to Taiwan does not necessarily violate the rule set by Resolution 2758. WTO is a great precedent of this workaround. According to Article 12 of the agreement establishing the World Trade Organization, besides sovereign states, separate custom territory possessing full autonomy in the conduct of its external commercial relations and of the other matters provided for in the said agreement and the multilateral trade agreements, can become member of the WTO by accession. Taiwan became a valuable member of WTO in 2002 as a separate customs territory with the designation the Separate Customs Territory of Taiwan, Penghu, Kinmen, and Mazu. We believe the framework used by WTO is of great referential value for WHO because, like the internal and external financial activities of Taiwan, the public health affairs of territories administered by current Taiwan governing authorities are solely controlled by the said authorities without external interference. Even though the WHO takes the political position that Taiwan is a province of China represented by the PRC government, the PRC government does not have any effective control over the public health affairs of Taiwan. In other words, Taiwan is not within the jurisdiction of the PRC government. Furthermore, the structure, quality, transparency, and trustworthiness of the public health system of Taiwan is completely different from that of the PRC-controlled territories. Hence, including the public health data of Taiwan into the data of PRC China and allowing the PRC government to speak for a place where its officials cannot even enter freely is irrational, misleading, and counterproductive. If we truly want to defeat life-threatening pathogens, we must have accurate picture of the situation and wipe out political fogs impeding our perception and conscience. Pathogens infect and kill people without political considerations. This is applicable to every land with disputed sovereignty under exclusive administration of a stable governing entity. Accordingly, we hereby humbly suggest the member states of WHO to amend the Constitution of WHO to add a new type of membership, separate public health territory, to allow territories under stable administration of governing entities not generally recognized as state governments to enter WHO, to allow people living there to receive protection from and make contribution to the WHO, and complete the anti-epidemic shield of the world village. To considerate the territorial integrity concern of sovereign states, and it is understandable that some member states of the WHO may hesitate to support such amendment in the fear that this may send an unwanted signal to the separatists within these sovereign states. However, we must point out that recognizing the existence of a separate public health territory based on existing situation does not constitute recognition of statehood, and mercilessly exposing separatists under the death threat of disease by preventing them from receiving WHO's help will only strengthen their determination to leave. Hence, we believe that by amending the Constitution of WHO to include de facto autonomous public health territories, we will not only create an anti-epidemic shield protecting all humankind and keep no one outside, but also make this world a more peaceful and harmonious place through the kindness and considerate attitude expressed in this amendment. This amendment will benefit all of us, harm no one, and save many lives. Taiwan can help. Taiwan is willing to help, and we heartily hope that the world can give Taiwan an opportunity to contribute more. Let us stand together and become stronger. In addition, we would like to point out that the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 2758 only addressed the issue of China's representative in UN and its related organizations. This resolution did not touch the issue of territorial sovereignty of Taiwan. Hence, it is incorrect to use this resolution to support China's arbitrary territorial claim over Taiwan. In fact, we would like to draw the attention of the following states to a treaty you signed and ratified to formally end the war between you and Japan, the Treaty of San Francisco. Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, Cambodia, Canada, Sri Lanka, Chile, Costa Rica, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Ethiopia, France, Greece, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Iran, Iraq, Laos, Lebanon, Liberia, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Norway, Pakistan, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, the Philippines, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Syria, Turkey, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Uruguay, Venezuela, Vietnam, and Japan. As the treaty parties of the Treaty of San Francisco, we believe that these states agreed without reservation that Japan was required to renounce her territorial sovereignty over Taiwan and Penghu without designating the future owner. Furthermore, by recalling U.S. Delegate John Foster Dulles' speech at the San Francisco Peace Conference on 5th September 1951. We believe that leaving the future to resolve the issue of Taiwan sovereignty by invoking international solvents other than the Treaty of San Francisco was the consensus and purpose of all treaty parties of the said treaty. In other words, the issue of Taiwan sovereignty was deliberately left undetermined by all parties of the treaty. Since after the Treaty of San Francisco entered into force on 28 April 1952, signatories of the treaty have not taken any international solvent to tackle this issue of Taiwan sovereignty. We consider that the territorial sovereignty of Taiwan is undetermined rather than a province of China. Consequently, we consider the designation of Taiwan as a province of China on the lists of UN Lock Code ISO 3166 and other international organizations list like ICAO is inaccurate and incorrect. Furthermore, we would also like to draw the attention of all states who were members of the World War II Allies. As members of the Allies, we believe that you know the current governing authorities on Taiwan, formerly recognized as the Republic of China, Government of China, started its administration of Taiwan as an agent of the Allies' post-surrender military occupation of Japan since October 1945. In other words, the Chinese ROC government was authorized to administer Taiwan for the general interest of all Allied members, rather than for the sole interest of China. According to the law of war and the general principles of international law, the ROC government cannot acquire territorial sovereignty of Taiwan by performing military occupation. Hence, although the Chinese ROC government claimed Taiwan as Chinese sovereign territory since the very beginning of its performance of the Allies' military occupation over Taiwan, its claim is legally without merit. Accordingly, when the Chinese PRC government became the representative of China in UN in 1971 as the successor of the Chinese ROC government, its claim over Taiwan sovereignty inherited from the Chinese ROC government is inevitably flawed. With this understanding in mind, we hereby confidently assert that the Chinese PRC government's territorial claim over Taiwan is without legal support, void ab initio, and its threat of reuniting Taiwan is a proclamation of an illegal act of aggression which would violate Article 2.4 of the UN Charter and jeopardize the peace and security of the world. Finally, based on the legal facts depicted above that the territorial sovereignty of Taiwan is undetermined, the current governing authorities of Taiwan is merely an agent performing the World War II Allies' military occupation mission, and could not acquire Taiwan sovereignty by playing this role, and the Chinese PRC government's territorial sovereignty claim over Taiwan is without any valid legal support and void ab initio. We would like to urge all member states of the United Nations to examine and ruminate the actual legal status of Taiwan, reject the Chinese PRC government's unjustifiable territorial claim over Taiwan, propose and pass resolutions to change the description of Taiwan's legal status from province of China to undetermined, and put Taiwan on the list of non-self-governing territories based on the fact that the current governing entity of Taiwan is merely an executor of post-war occupation arrangement. As long as Taiwan is still under the administration of current Taiwan governing authorities, no matter how many freedoms are enjoyed by people on Taiwan, and no matter how many elections are held, due to the occupant nature of the governing authorities, Taiwan is a non-self-governing territory and the issue of the undetermined Taiwan sovereignty should be solved within the decolonization context rather than mingled with the China representative or one China problem of the two Chinese regimes. Recalling UN General Assembly Resolution 1514 and 1541, we believe that all member states of UN have an obligation to help people on Taiwan to gain full control over our land. Taiwan is a land with undetermined sovereignty, not a land owned by the occupation executor, and hence, the One China issue should not affect Taiwan. For this reason, Taiwanese people's right to participate in international community should not be deprived because the diplomatic capacity of the current governing authorities of Taiwan is seriously restrained by its Chinese regime nature. People on Taiwan should be allowed to participate in international organizations, at least as observer, before we exercise our right to self-determination to establish our own sovereign state. Accordingly, we humbly hope the WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros, can invite Taiwan to participate in 2020 WHA as an observer without any misleading reference to China or incorrectly designating Taiwan as province of China. We are Taiwanese, villagers of the global village. 9th May 2020. Taiwan can help the world. The world can help Taiwan. Please take action now.